Welcome to Fontribute, where we talk about fonts and their attributes. Fontribute. It's me, Thomas.
And me, Erin. Hello.
Well, hey, Aaron. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday.
Thank you. Gobble gobble. Yes, I did.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you
I did
too.
too. I really enjoyed the turkey. It was very good this year.
Good.
Um,
I enjoyed the vegetarian options.
the tofu. Was it a tofu?
Tofurkey? We didn't do it, but no, something.
Uh,
Chickpeas instead. That's what I had for protein. Why are we wasting our time talking about this? I'm
That's
sorry, everyone.
fine. It's fine. It's important to celebrate Thanksgiving. It's old greatness.
I'm grateful for Fontribute.
Yes. And we decided to change things up this week because we were kind of like, we've done, we've hinted at this in previous weeks, previous months, maybe. It's been a while. We've been doing this. We would actually show one of our fonts in this format for discussion. And I volunteered my font that I was producing for my as an example of university class I teach at Queens College in SUNY, the State University of New York. And I figured I would just demo it and have us go through this format of an in progress font for investigation. So here it is. To give you guys some background, what I assigned my students was find a font in use somewhere, identify it, seek to understand it, and then propose a font to replace it. Right, kind of discern what working, what isn't for you in a specific context, and draw a new font based on that, right? To propose a new idea. Uh, the font I selected in the magazine was Futura, in this case, Futura Condensed. And I made some notes about how I thought to improve it. And Queens 3, this is an example of what I drew. And I showed it to my students as an example of how to produce their work. So here is the comparison I set up. And Aaron's coming here complete hot takes, completely no understanding before. So Aaron, since you had me here, I'd love any questions or anything I can clarify. We have the unfair advantage of asking me, but I'm generally not gonna. I'm gonna kind of let the work present itself, and we'll investigate it as if it was a normal project.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I've not seen this before, so this is going to be this will be intriguing to see my scary reactions or whatever. I promise we'll do one of my fonts next. But it's also going to be a little tricky because I know sometimes we try to compare fonts that are kind of similar in design and just talk about the subtle differences. This is actually, as you can already see right now, it seems like kind of a lot different. The Queen's 3 typeface, it has a lot more kind of it's a lot quirkier, has a lot more going on. So we'll do our best to try to do a comparison and talk about some of the decisions and stuff. So cool. I guess we'll just jump in because I don't know. We might as well look at some small differences. Oh my. Ooh la la. So why did you decide to go boop outward with that?
Nice. Well, I would say, I think the first thing was I wanted this overall to have a more kind of bouncy, playful feel. I thought the Futura, while it started kind of giving a warm feeling overall, was a little too rigid. So I made the decision to kind of have these kind of arching effects basically going on. So, for example, if you notice the low joint this kind of long effect overall happening here and here, and then mirrored in some capacity way with how the terminal got handled. I think I came to that conclusion because I didn't want to taper this section. I decided I kind of wanted to introduce white space by clearing out this zone over here. Um, by the way, also just a note on that was I thought the Futura being used was too bold in the way they were using it. I figured a more reading's purpose weight instead in proportion made more sense. So that's
Mhm.
why the weight and some decisions were made the way they were done.
Yeah, the weight and the width, just it's a lot wider, a lot lighter, so it must have a completely different sort of feeling of texture. And also lower, lower kind of contrast. We've got tiny little droop, something that we usually point out when we're looking at other typefaces. Was this decision to go outward, like, did that make it hard to space the font, space the typeface?
So what I did originally was I kept it straight,
Hmm.
and then once I got the spacing right on that setup, then I introduced spray outs and
Hmm.
adjust needed. So that's a fair point. I think that was definitely my first concern when I decided to go in that direction.
That'll be cool to see the text sample. I can't wait till we get to that point. Ooh.
Yes.
I don't know.
Cool. Is any other? I mean, this is actually kind of fun. I'm actually liking
It is
this.
fun.
Yeah, this is cool.
Is this what Type Thursday is like? I've never been to one.
And
No,
yes,
a
actually, it
little.
is. It very much is.
Yeah, the only other thing, if I were pretending this is a normal week of this, I would say to also just to note also the kind of like the more flatness of the round shapes happening here, whereas yours are like it's got a bouncier kind of pointier feeling, so that's going to be interesting to see in other slides. Oh my.
This is very cool. Actually, I'm enjoying this. This is actually quite fun already.
Just you wait. Okay.
Excellent.
Huh. There we go. The D. So I can see that you made the ascenders a lot shorter than Futuras, which are enormous. They're incredibly tall, and the Futura very tall ascenders.
Yes, very
Um,
correct.
yeah, and the shape here in Futura, like because it's based on if you've seen the regular width Futura people who are watching, you'll notice that they have a lot of round shapes that kind of very circular bowl shapes that ease into the stem, and that's the case as well in this condensed version. But you've chosen that different approach where it's more of an abrupt juncture. So that's also completely different. I guess it allows for more white space in there. And then whoop, we got our little friend again, the little angled serify. What are those called? Help me, Lord.
I mean,
Good
it's kind of
Lord.
a spur, kind of, but
Spur
not
thing.
really.
Yeah.
It's not really a spur. It's I think of my vocabulary. I was thinking it was I was thinking like an angled terminal,
Mhm.
like an angled kind of terminal stroke on the D in this case, or in the A in the N, and that as a flag serif thinking. That's what I was. But serifs obviously because it's sans serif.
It's so funny. Like they couldn't be any more different. This is like such a huge departure. It's very funny. It's you went as different as you could go, pretty much. I love it. I can't wait to see the side by side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have questions. Do you have things you want to say about the D?
No, I'm not. Well, let's see. I mean, I think one of the things I was trying to keep between the two again was kind of that warm feeling about it, and I think specifically how the rounds were handling. I kind of wanted the rounds to kind of feel. Yeah, I think you might be seeing in text making this better, but basically, I wanted the kind of a flatness. Like, kind of notice how flat this feels over here.
Hmm.
I wanted to mirror that, but kind of a nice rounded feeling on the top and bottom, right? Kind of very dramatically arching, as you notice in the end as well. So that was my meditation about that at this point.
Meditation. Cool. Well,
Cool.
I want to see the next letter. Show me more.
Okay.
Thank you. Ha ha ha. Wildly different.
Indeed, indeed.
Wild. So yeah, I can see we have the common terminal ending here, but like this, yeah, this is interesting. So it gets a very distinctive little kind of point, or flat pointed section. Wow, that's so unusual. You don't see that all that often. Tell me why you chose that.
Well, for a couple of reasons. One was that, one obviously the form is different because I want to be more for reading purposes. So I wanted to remove ambiguities of like story A's or G's. You're gonna love the G. G is quite the fun one of this project. Um, the Futura also kind of has this. Well, in some cases very vertical, but usually they're angle terminals. I always find the question of like how they draw the terminals in these kind of designs always challenging. So my decision was to do a shear out mode like this, kind of versus kind of a vertical or angling this way between the two. So I thought of that, but then I thought, and also I wanted to kind of like, how best to describe it? I guess I want a certain kind of crispness that kind of specific kind of beak effect, kind of point, kind of drawing, as you notice, the points doing this would introduce. I wanted some of that. Basically, I wanted to play off this strong tempo with some roundedness happening. So I want to kind of play that with that decision over there. That was my thinking behind that anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting because usually when you see a sans serif design and it angles kind of inward, it draws the eye inward a little bit. Here, it's like kind of points out a little bit more. So that's going to be kind of an interesting. Yeah, it kind of makes sense with all the different angles you're going to have going this way and that with all the uh, those little like flare out parts. So I guess it's going to kind of blend in a little bit well with all the directions happening. So that'll be interesting. Also noticing that there's in my eye, well, no, maybe not. This almost looks like it's moving back this way a little bit further than when we saw the D looked a little more upright. There's a little bit more motion happening going that direction, which is also cool. So there's a lot of twists and turns happening within this one shape. Ooh la la.
Excellent. I really appreciate that. I think that's very true. I remember drawing you actually thinking that. That's interesting. Yet I remember you. That's interesting. You noticed that. That's interesting.
Why,
Very
thank
cool.
you. Oh yes. Yay! So they're the somewhat cousin to the A beak, although this point is like way smaller, that little flat point, or maybe
Yeah,
even non-existent. What's going on, Thomas?
that's called inconsistency.
Just joking. No, I should be hard on you since I'm so mean to everyone else. So I should just be like, so why'd you decide to make that point smaller on this letter?
Well, like I said, inconsistency. So great. Thank you
Okay,
for
no answer. Okay.
yeah. So therefore, thank you for pointing that out. I need to go back and make a decision about that.
That's funny. Um, I like how it's kind of more flat on the bottom because if you had made this, higher up and then I think that would have felt too closed off. So that's kind of cool how it flares out slightly. I like, um, I don't know, yeah, I like the kind of rectangularness of the form. Pretty cool. I don't know why this reminds me. What does it remind me of? One of those, I don't know. Antica Olive or there's some typeface that there's something about this. It reminds me of that. I have to go look after the session, but it's cool to have that extra space since we know there's going to be, like I said, all those bloop 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 things going every which direction. And also yeah, again, this is a good letter to demonstrate the contrast difference between the crossbars and the body of it in Futura. So anything else you want to mention for E?
Well, yeah. Just I think one thing to point out is just for people to notice, just to notice how round this feels, like versus the more squareness that you noticed, Erin. Just again, this is actually why there's some value in showing the Futura next to it.
Sure. Yeah.
Just to discern those differences. And obviously one thing I noted and why I chose the model I chose with this is because the aperture difference between the two. I was seeing that in the application I was reviewing, and I was like, that's not going to work. Like that's not effective. So therefore, that's why I'm making decisions that I've made so far.
Tight areas like that in a heavier weight like this printed on news or magazine paper stock is not good. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Aw, your baby. The funky G. Funky G. That's great.
I told you it's going to be funky.
Is it too funky, Thomas?
That is the question of the day now, isn't it?
It'll be interesting to see. It's also, you had, like we just said, all the other round shapes were a little bit more rectangular and flat, whereas this one's very circular, or more circular in profile. So I'll be interested to see that side by side with some of the other shapes to see whether that makes any sense. Oh, and this funny little ear going down. Oh, he's a little depressed. He's a little sad. Poor little guy. I love this form. This is very cool. I want to see more typefaces with that shape. That's great. I like it.
I like Living Dangerous. What can I say?
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my. Yeah. I'll have to see this in context because I know that the G is so distinctive. I want to see how it relates to the other pieces. So with the ear, okay, I'll take this for example with the ear. So in the E, you had like it's kind of you had the little tapered beak. Same thing with the A. There was a lot more tapering. Why is this like a wedge shape versus like a tapered one?
I think it is tapered. Basically in between. Basically, I think this momentum is very different. It's going like slope on the bottom is steeper than the top.
Sure. Oh, I guess I meant like curve. Like it's
yeah,
not
you're basically thinking of a curve. I draw curve versions and I just wasn't feeling it. I thought
Is
then it was
complicated.
Too much.
Yeah, too
It was too complicated at that point. That was my thinking behind. But like I said, you will be the eye of validation of that thesis when we get to testing how it works in paragraphs.
Very fun on its own. I love it. I want to see it with the
well, thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think I have a bad habit of like my instincts to just make things super characterful, like a lot of flavor into it, but then kind of getting wonky as fuck when we get to applications sometimes. So I appreciate it, but the real test will come up when we test it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. And like I think Futura has a certain warmthness, but again, like choosing from like this one story G just seems so regimented. I get why, because it's a larger program, but in the application I was seeing used, I figured a little more quirk would have been more appropriate.
I don't think Futura is warm at all. I am the complete opposite.
You don't think so?
No, I just think of like 1960s art, like art books or something, and everything just looking like clinical. And I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe you associate it with um, Wes Anderson or something like that. I don't know.
Like that. Well, I was thinking, I think in my mind, I was thinking more the like the art books they used it when it first came out, like that kind of the kind
Oh
of
yeah,
warmth you're getting from that aesthetic.
I don't
Yeah,
get warmth from those. Those I think creepy, stinky basements, like my parents' stinky basement filled with art books. I don't know. Maybe
that's
that's a
fine.
difference.
Different
Maybe it's my sensory memory. Okay, I don't know.
different
Anyway.
metaphors for it. Not perfectly
Anything,
fine.
almost any geometric typeface, I usually don't think it looks warm, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
jerk. Okay,
No,
I'm cold-hearted. That's what I've learned from this demonstration.
not at all.
Let's move on.
Let's move on, shall we?
Ooh, fun. See, there we go. Now we got the little curved guy back. Okay, so duh, Aaron, I keep forgetting that so that G ear was referencing the serif you have going on in the other letters. Duh, what was I thinking? That makes sense. Okay. And the R, yeah, it's cool. The arm of the R, has more in common with that N shape, a little bit of flare. Yeah, that's going to be so different from the Futura, very blunt shape. So this is more than this R. There's, yeah, a lot of like negative space captured underneath. And I think I remember seeing that in that first slide we had. So that'll be fun to see how all that negative space
Works out.
works out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's always fun when you have an R like this that's kind of longer, that how to kern that with certain letters and stuff, and having to remember to include the R in all of your kerning decisions.
Oh,
Ugh.
absolutely. And just in general, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was definitely I definitely this is why proofing matters, because or this is a work in progress. So there could be things in contention or questioned because there is all this space, right, versus this, right, and whatever gets next to it here and here, right.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all very fair points. Again, the
Yeah.
test will be in the proof or
Ooh, I
the.
hope one of the words, yeah, has like the A next to the R, because I know
Yep.
the A, yeah, had like that
Yep.
was jutting out quite a bit too.
Yeah. Actually, I think that might have been the reasons why I instinctively drew this art. Remember how you talked about that momentum push up
Yeah.
here in the
Yeah.
bowl of the A? That might have been, honestly, that might have been a very reasonable instinct to do that, to deal with this, to think about that problem. We'll see. We shall see.
We shall see.
This is very fun. It's kind of like helping me reveal my thought process that I just did instinctively, that I was just doing from the art of doing.
This is great.
This is fun. I'm actually quite enjoying this.
Wee! Oh, fun. Yeah. Ha ha ha. That is so funny. It's
Yeah.
so tall. So tall. Um, and you made your uppercase very, very wide compared to our Futura friend over here. So tell me why you decided to make those so wide.
I think again for just comfort of reading, right? I think it's just also I just wanted a more. I think to be fair, this brief also had I was adventurous and did a serif design too. Maybe people enjoy this format. I'll throw up this design as well. And that one was very, very old style based. So I wanted the capitals of this Queen's 3 design to marry with that in some way or respond to each other. So there's a little bit of a combination of responding to a serif design model and also just a certain. I kind of wanted an interplay between the capitals and the lowercase in their widths.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the test will be in the setting to see if this works out or not.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. Is there things you want to notice? Kind of like what about the any other observations at this point or no? I'm just
I don't
curious.
think so. Just okay. Future, those narrow capital letters are always, yeah, they're difficult. But then again, like, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm wondering if your typeface, do they have all caps settings that they use in that magazine you were trying to design this in with that in mind? Is that something that they had? Because I know the wider capitals, sometimes they don't look quite as good in all caps settings if you're doing like a more condensed body
setup.
I don't know. Yeah, I want to see it in context. I can't think of it right now. It's too few. I'm sorry.
Just one note for I just want to make one note just for again applying what I've talked about in other class in other sessions. Just take note the decision to not carry this here. Just
Yeah. Oh God, I would have puked. Please.
exactly. I just want to
Thank you.
demonstrate the point that we practice what we talk about. Like there's a grammar, we follow the grammar, and when you break the grammar by just like, oh, this has it, so we this has
I
it, so we
see. Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so flippant. Yes, but yeah, that makes sense. Um, although, yeah, it's interesting though when you have like, let's say an italic H or something in one of those typefaces, like it actually would bend that way, not this way or something. Like that's one of
Yeah.
those things that I'm like, oh, when I was a student that I never noticed before. So anyway, okay, done. Erin,
Yeah.
stop.
Also take note that I was planning for this to be kind of set. I was thinking also for web use for this font too.
Okay.
So I want to just take note, large ass X height. This is relatively large. It's unfair when you have this next to it as a reference point, but
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking in my mind like this is probably gonna be very large on the body because of that. And that was done intentionally. Okay, not an issue.
Oh, fun.
So I wanted to throw in again. I wanted to practice what we preach, which was we've been beating up people for a while now on punctuation. So I wanted to kind of come here and demo the punctuation.
Huh.
Yes, and I think you might have contention with me over the
I'm
amount of C's on it.
intrigued. I don't quite see this round thing. I mean, I love the shape. I just that plus also the rectangular tittle, like these are in conflict in my mind. Like to me, it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
Not an issue.
That's my vote. But also just like the extreme roundness of the weight. Like maybe if I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess I'm just thinking why didn't these relate more to the serify thing you had going on in the A and the E, which were much more like delicate. These are quite like really bold. And yeah, I just don't see that anywhere. And if that existed, I would expect this to be a round dark thing. That's my thought.
Excellent.
I'm sorry.
Nope,
That's my comment.
don't apologize.
I'm surprised.
I like the standard that we do to everybody else.
I mean, I really love the shape though, so I guess I'm just conflicted. Maybe it's like you keep. Maybe that's another thing. Is there any punctuation in the text setting?
There is.
That you did? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I mean, it's definitely better than like these are way too close together, I think. You know, I hate when quote marks are like really close. I don't know what my problem is. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just.
No, I agree with that.
I don't know. They seem kind of like if that were the print size in that magazine, that it would be too vibratey. Like it would feel too close together. Maybe just because of their length, or I'm not really sure what. Erin, stop. I don't know. I feel like I'm a sham. Like I don't know what I'm talking about unless I'm looking at it in context. But I'll move on to something I do know. I like the I like the kind of large aperture proportions of the numbers. I think they're pretty cool. And that they do have a lot more warmth to them than I would say the Futura, which seems a lot more angular and boxy and stuff like that. The openness of that's kind of fun, flaring out a little bit there. Hee hee hee, funny. I guess I would, if I were to say something, it feels the construction of the 3 is drawing my eye because I think
excellent.
Yeah, I think this and then it flares out. That's kind of like drawing my eye. Like it seems unnatural or with the rest of the typeface, I would say. Like it feels too like painted, like sign painter strokes. Like you're not supposed to see that entering in that way or something. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree with you, mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to I'm listening to it. I'm like, when is she gonna talk about that 3 and maybe the 2? Because I'm looking at them, I'm like, I gotta work on those.
The other, this flag, like I like how this flag comes out, but there's something about that too that it doesn't feel like it's relating as well to the pointy things you've been having happening elsewhere either. I'm trying to figure out what it is about it, whether I think it should have been like pointed out that way, or maybe it's this width, or I'm not quite sure. I gotta think about that a little more. Also, the 4 looks a little bit less. There's something about this taper that I don't know. What's my problem with that too? I don't know. Never mind.
Mm. No,
I don't know.
don't never mind. I think it's actually this is
It
still in development, by the way.
just
So
things
these
to
are
think about because I
yes.
think like when things are pointy elsewhere and then it feels like very blunt, um, that I just don't know if
So you think
it's
your issue
following the
might be
same
with
grammar.
the issue with the four might be the bluntness, right, of like the one and four in these top areas here
I
about
mean, it's always hard to make numbers relate to other things you have going on. They really are because it's based on a
yes,
different sort of
model.
model and handwriting. And also, it might just be the fact that there's no curve happening, whereas there are a lot of curves in the letters. Like maybe this four shouldn't be this format. Maybe it needs, I don't know. Oh, God, it's way too hard. It's way too hard to know. Oh, Erin, you dug yourself a little hole. Like maybe, what if it's like that? Or I,
Oh,
uh,
arch is out.
I don't know. Anyway, that's just something I'm thinking of.
Not an issue. What do you think about the
Okay,
eight?
what do I think about the eight?
Before we move on.
Oh, I think it just has some like a little bit of weight issue. Like it's a little bit heavier here, maybe, and
Mm,
it's a little like there's a part pinching out here. It's like doesn't feel quite as smooth as the other things. Maybe it's even a little wide. No, I don't know. Maybe the 6 is wide. I'm looking at the comparison of this counter and the 9. The 9 looks smaller than the
yeah,
6's counter. But then again, this relates. Maybe the 5 is a little too high waisted, or I'm not sure.
excellent.
I guess I'd have to, yeah, I want to see these in context because like these, I mean, this is a bold move to have this such a high-waisted 5. Like this is a little bit more normal in proportion. If I'm looking at the letters in context with this, I don't know if we saw any of these like exaggerated waist things happening in the letters themselves or in the capitals. Like this is a standard bar placement for an H. If you were doing a high-waisted thing, I would think either the crossbar for the H would be like, down or up, or it would be somewhere non-standard. That's just like an initial thought. I don't know.
Very
I'm just
cool.
talking out my butt. Sorry.
No,
Oh, I
this is
can't
very.
wait for us to do one of my fonts next time, and you're going to do the same
I
thing.
know this is fun. This is actually quite enjoyable. This is great. And here we are.
Cute. Aw, cute. Cool. Okay.
I'll
Ooh,
tell you right
fun.
now, my first reaction immediately is too loose. Cap too loose.
um, you mean, wait, what's too loose? Just
Yeah.
all of your stuff, or
No,
the cap?
I will just demo right now.
Well, I assume you haven't kerned at all,
Yeah, but
or have you?
that shouldn't be a kern. Like a
Well,
SC.
yeah,
No,
that's true.
that's
But the
just
T, I mean, like, yeah, obviously the
yeah.
TO hasn't been kerned yet and stuff like that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, SA. Here are things that are drawing my eye. So the O, lowercase o, looks more rectangular compared to the capital O and the G. Like those, there seems like there's a disparity with those sorts of shapes. I actually kind of like the like more pointy, ovally cap. Oh, I think it actually fits better with what's happening in the D and the H and stuff. Maybe the O is too
Two square.
square. That might be a thought. Let's see. What else am I looking at? There's so many things to look at. The depressed G ear, I think, is catching my eye a little bit too much. I
Mm,
don't know. It is, I mean, that angle is quite deep.
agree.
Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know. I got to think about that. Um, It really is catching my eye, unfortunately, which is too bad because it's so cute. Let's see, what else would I say? Do, 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 do. It's also hard to know. It's so hard when we're looking at these at this size, because I don't know if something is like a hinting issue, or if it's the drawing. Like the S looks too short, like it looks smaller in some of the, like if you compare some of these areas, the S looks small, and I don't know if it's a hinting error. Same thing with the G, like it looks like it's not lining up with the X height.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's different on your computer. Oh, I should look at our. Oh no, that doesn't help either. I have two screens up at the same time. It kind of looks a little weird in both. Hmm. I like the A. I think I'm liking it so far in all of the. I mean, it's definitely like distinctive, but I think that's good to have some distinctive characters in your typeface. Otherwise, why go through the trouble of making a typeface unless you have something recognizable? It's cool how the S and the R and the A have the same kind of beaky approach, and it's super evident. That's kind of fun, makes it very unique. Maybe the R the lowercase r, I would say maybe it is curving down too much. Maybe it would be more effective if you had the beak, but it were more straight. I don't know, Erin. It's like I think it looks maybe a little, there's too much contrast or something between. That's hard to see. Man, this is the instance where I wish I had the printout proof or something. I definitely think that the eye tittle, it's either it's like too close to the base of the eye, I think, and I think you should explore a different shape slightly. I don't know if I'm crazy about the rectangle, especially with the punctuation. I think the punctuation is too much, or the quote marks and the oh yeah, and this is a square. To me, that doesn't make sense to have to mix the squares with the circular. I don't know. But yeah, I was going to say the apostrophe and the comma. What's wrong with me? Comma and quote marks. I think they have too much contrast. That's my thought. Like I wish the end was more blunt, like it didn't taper so much. And I mean, I like the angle, like the general angle that it's very visible, but I really think it might be just a contrast issue or something. I don't know. What else could I say? Yeah, the tapered, all the tapered bits we've been talking about, or not tapered, the angled entry strokes and serify type thingies. I really like them. I thought I wasn't going to like them, but I do. Yay. That's good.
Look at that.
I'm pleasantly surprised. What else? This is hard. I feel like there's so much pressure.
No pressure. I've actually been appreciating everything you're saying. I've been generally agreeing with most of the things you're saying.
Oh, I like the very narrow J, the little taper part. Like it's kind of cool when there's letters like that where it seems to really make it makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people, they spend a lot of time on the lowercase letters, and then the uppercase letters end up being kind of just generic in the end. And I like when there's a little bit of
a little pizzazz.
Yeah, a little uniqueness. Like I like that they are the S. I really love the S's proportions. C maybe looks a little wide in comparison to the other ones. The W, like I feel like the W maybe needs to be more narrow as well, or maybe have some other slightly different approach to it. I don't know what it would be, or I wonder if you would ever do. Oh, I hate those, but like, or something else. It just doesn't seem like there's so much quirk going on in the lowercase that just a straightforward W like seems maybe like I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but I like the M. Like I like it's the choice to do the angled strokes there going outward seems narrow enough. I like it. The lowercase W I like. Yeah, I'm liking it. Let me think if there's anything more, and I'm just babbling. Oh God, it's probably been like 20 minutes. I've been on this.
I think well, for me personally, it's a very enlightening question. I introduced a fun element at Illinois. I don't know if you can see it.
Wait, what about it?
Well, look at Illinois. There's something particular in the L's.
What do you mean? What about them? That they have the little foot outstroke.
Yeah,
what about
a tail? A tail.
Yeah, well, tail. Yeah. I mean, just helpful. Nashville. Yeah. I think now, oh wow, I could get the thing is, I think there's a lot of spacing. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. I think the lowercase I needs more space around it. I think that's one thing I'm catching up on or picking up on. Oh, it's so hard. Let me think. Oh man. It's like this would take me an hour to look through. You know what? I think the N is a little wider than I would expect compared to like U and D. Like look at the word and. I think there's something about it where I feel like the A and the N are quite big and then the D is kind of narrow. Maybe is it just my screen?
I trust you on that. I see that too.
Yeah, I might need to spend more time with this. Wow, I feel so bad for everyone watching. I'm sorry. This is so stupid. I'm spending so much time.
It's quite fun. Let's zoom out. Let's do a zoom out.
Yeah, let's do another one. Let's do Is there one more slide you're saying?
No, sadly not. I did not. No, I didn't do another slide.
Ah, fudge.
Sorry. Okay. No, I'm just saying let's zoom out and let's ask the question kind of overall. What are the observations you're gaining overall?
Oh, God. Well, that it couldn't be any more different than Futura, obviously, because you made so many bajillion different changes. I mean, I like that it's what does it remind me of? Triplex or something? There's a triplex or whatever. There's
Nice. Triplex.
there's some typeface, like 90s typeface that this like reminds me of or something. Not that
Wow,
that's a
really?
I like wacky stuff. Well, just anything that has like a, you know, things going every which way. It kind of has that feel. I think it's just maybe it's just the G. The G is
The G you're not sold
it's
yet. The
so
G you feel like
avant-garde. Yeah, it's a little unexpected. I mean, I
avant-garde.
bet if you put the ear up, it would feel a little more normal. Anyway, um, maybe there's a lot of things. I mean, it's so much more distinctive. I prefer reading this to this. Like the thing Futura, I've never liked, especially these like condensed weights. It's like it's so flashy with my eyes. Like everything is so um there's this it's like looks like Morse code
Yes.
sort of thing. Everything's so similar. I can tell, by making a double story A, it like, the A's are hard to distinguish from the O's. I mean,
The G.
that's why Futura being used, these condensed weights being used as a text, I find it really hard to read. So putting all those distinguishing features on your letters, I think differentiates them, and it makes it more, I think, easier to read, at least in my opinion. And I do like that you made the uppercase letters, you gave them more breathing room than the extremely condensed Futura. Like I like having a little more space there, and being able to see the form better. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely prefer it for sure. I would prefer reading yours. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do other things to work on, and I personally found this super enlightening, and I hope the audience as well. I think it helped drew out a lot of things to be worked on. Things were very much in my mind as I'm working on it.
Oh, I can't wait for my turn next time. It's gonna
Now,
be. I've got one in mind for you. Anyway,
yeah,
okay.
excellent. Yeah,
Oh, this is so fun. Thanks for inviting me, and I hope we're still friends.
we are. I just it's part of the process, and notice again the main theme takeaway was that there's a logic, you're applying the logic, and there are times where it's like when the contention, it's like, are you applying your system thoughtfully in all places, and even when it comes in conflicted areas, right? Of different of number systems or punctuation, or even just the nature of the round of your structures, right? Or your controls responding to your variables. Sometimes maybe your funds like your A, G, D, for example, or like more on tone, and your controls you have to go back and adjust because they're going in a better direction. So it just shows the messiness of type design. For me, it kind of reaffirms the value of this project of type design in general because it's super messy and you're getting all over the place and you're trying to come to clarity of what is the vision you're trying to express. And just hearing Erin meditate on these questions was very insightful for me personally.
Yeah, it's also interesting because it's like it's really hard to step away from your own work. Like, oh God, I can't wait to find out all the things that I missed in my project. I'm going to show you next time around. Like, it's an interesting exercise because in type sometimes, I mean, you can see just type or any design work. I remember in graphic design school, I could always see things that caught my eye in other students' projects, but I couldn't see it in my own work. And that's why group critique and showing your work to other people can be so helpful, or turning it upside down, or not looking at it and coming back to it, a week later or something. You'll see a bunch of things that you didn't see initially. So that's also really kind of interesting. I'm glad we got a chance to try this. This was cool.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you.
So audience, thank you for joining us for this journey. If you really enjoyed this, tell you what, come back next week for Erin's, and then what? I'm gonna put it out there. If you want to get your type design reviewed by us in this way, in a Fontribute manner, here's the thing. I definitely like that person to join the call because, as you notice, Erin asked questions and the presenter was able to ask the questions. I'm gonna put it out there. If you're into this, put a vote in, message us, and we will make this happen. Hopefully,
that would be so cool.
Yeah, I think that might be I just said inspirational moment together.
Wow, we didn't discuss this ahead of time. This is a cool
Nope.
idea, everyone.
Spontaneous thoughts.
It's great. And for people like me, like I don't live anywhere nearby a Fontribute or a
TypeThursday.
I don't live near one, and so if there are people like me living in the middle of nowhere and you want some help, come to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed this. Let us know how you feel about this new idea anyway. And we will see you all next week. Erin, hope looking forward to reviewing your work next week.
Oh, dear God. Thank you. All right. Bye,
All
Tommy.
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.